In this video, I'll review several modern no-code testing tools, try each one hands-on, and rate them across key aspects. These are the tools we'll be looking at. I selected these tools because they would come up in Google searches when looking for no-code test automation tools. For each tool, I signed up for a free trial and tried to create and run a simple automated test. Then I rated the experience across areas like UI UX, speed, reliability, cross-browser support, end-to-end testing features, AI capabilities, and more. The first one on the list is Endtest. Let's start by looking at Endtest. The UI is easy to navigate. You can quickly find the options to create or modify tests, configure settings, etc. Let's quickly create a test by using the AI test creation agent. We'll just copy and paste these instructions and start the test creation process. Here you can see all the steps being generated as the agent is navigating through the web application. And now, let's save these steps in a test. Here are the saved steps. You can see they're easy to read and understand. And of course, you can also modify them or add new steps. We're going to run the test now. We can run the test in the Endtest cloud, where we have all the major browsers on Windows and macOS machines, including Safari. And we can also pick different geolocations. Here we can see the detailed logs with the output from each step, and the screenshots and the video recording. Another aspect that makes Endtest stand out is the flexibility and the large number of actions that you can use in a test. You can deal with iframes, multiple tabs, shadow DOM, and any complex scenario. And different types of assertions, including AI assertions and visual ones. And different types of variables that you can generate. And here are my ratings for Endtest. A strong tool gets the job done. Next one on the list is Mabl. Let's take a look at Mabl. While the UI does look polished, it doesn't feel intuitive or easy to navigate. We have a new test option, but also a separate tests section and a plan section. I was expecting this section to actually navigate through the web app and create the steps, but it just generated a description. They also have a section to manually create a test. Not sure why they're asking for the browser viewport at this point, since we're not planning to start a recorder. It's mandatory to install their desktop app if I want to create a test in this way. Ideally, I should have been able to do this directly on their web interface. Here are my ratings for Mabl. It got 0 stars for pricing because there are no prices displayed on their pricing page, only a talk to sales button. Just because I faced some difficulties when starting, doesn't mean it's not a good tool. It does have some positives. Next one is testRigor, and this is what testRigor looks like. The UI could be a bit more polished. A new user might find this UI to be a bit overcomplicated or even confusing. I faced difficulties while learning how to create a new test. I was assuming that I can easily provide some basic instructions to their AI and it would generate the test. But it complained about missing information, despite the steps being descriptive enough for other AI testing tools. It seems their syntax is surprisingly restrictive. It does provide a cross-browser cloud, end-to-end features and AI capabilities, but the difficult UI can be a serious blocker. These are my ratings for testRigor. It also got 0 stars for pricing for the same reason as Mabl. Next on our list is Ghost Inspector. And this is Ghost Inspector. Despite not having any AI features, it does have a powerful test recorder. The UI is nice and clean, but slightly outdated. However, we can easily view and modify the steps. It does have a number of actions, but not as many as Endtest. Here we can see the output from a test execution. and it's easy to read and understand. We can configure the settings for each test suite, and it does provide a variety of geolocations. The main disadvantages are the limited cross-browser options and the complete lack of AI features. Here are my ratings for Ghost Inspector. It got 0 stars for AI features because it doesn't currently have any. Time to look at Reflect. Let's see what Reflect looks like. I like the fact that it's a hybrid approach between a test recorder and an AI. I recorded 1 to 2 steps, and now I'm adding AI instructions. However, it seems the AI is relatively slow. I'm assuming maybe they're using some general purpose AI model instead of a specialized one. However, it does seem to manage to navigate through the app. I'll just fast forward until the end of this part. I'm able to run the test. I know that they have cross-browser capabilities, but I can't seem to find them. I can't understand where I can select the browser, the screen resolution, the geolocation, etc. I get that this test is running on Chrome, but without any other details, we can assume it's a headless Chrome running on a Linux container. At least the UI doesn't look too bad. Despite running into some errors with the test executions, it does have a lot of positives, such as end-to-end capabilities, AI features, and a relatively intuitive UI. My ratings for Reflect. Same situation with the pricing as Mabl and testRigor. A decent tool, easy to use, but with room for improvements. And the last one on the list is TestMu. And this is TestMu, also known as former Lambda Test. They had to change their name due to some legal dispute. Their UI looks good, but I think it should be more intuitive. It also feels a bit crowded with that promotional header at the top, all those buttons and a countdown timer. Here I was trying to use their AI test creation feature, but it was taking some time at that step, so I'll just skip a bit forward. It is able to handle multiple instructions, which is great, but it's a bit slow. Let's fast forward again to the end. I'm saving this recorded test. I'm not sure why it's taking so long for a simple save. Maybe it's checking something in the background. It did manage to generate most of the steps correctly, despite some failed assertion. However, it seems like the output is more like a black box. I can't really seem to edit those steps, and exporting them as code wouldn't really make sense. These are my ratings for TestMu. Their major strength is their cross-browser cloud, since that's what their tool was originally about. And here are the final scores and rankings. Endtest got first place, followed by TestMu and Mabl. I hope you enjoyed this video.